What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Cheyenne, and I am back with Tyler Perry Sisters, Season 10, Episode 7, Leaving to Stay. Before I start, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Click the notification bell button so you can be updated on every video. Make sure y'all like the video so I can stay in the algorithm, okay? All right. Y'all, this episode was fine. I was just looking at Cheyenne like, girl, baby Madea finna pull that blicky out on you. Okay, duck. Okay, just duck. Anyway, so the episode starts with Zach. He stops by the law office because he wanted to surprise Fatima, and of course he wanted to talk to Fatima about the bidding situation. So the front office receptionist, lets him know she's at lunch with Andy, and so he asks, can he go leave a note? He asks, can he go leave a note in her office? So she allowed it. So then Cheyenne walked in with this little mini skirt and a half crop top. It was cute for outside, but not for in the law office, but whatever, So she was like, Andrea Barnes. And so the front desk lady tells her, listen, Miss Barnes isn't in. Can I leave a message? And Cheyenne was like, well, do you know what she ate? I was like, girl, cool, get some, okay? Y'all know Cheyenne is growing on me, but Cheyenne is very tacky. She is very tacky, but whatever. Anyway, she lets her know Andy isn't available, and Cheyenne was like, hey, do you know where she is? So front office sis was like, no, but I can tell her you stopped by. And so she was like, well, can I just go sit in her office and wait? And so receptionist sis was like, absolutely not. Okay, you can wait in the waiting area where everybody else is waiting, okay? So then she begs the lady to go look around, and she admits to the lady that Andy is her sister. And she was like, oh, I didn't know Andy had a sister. And she was like, yeah. And so she didn't ask the lady, can she go look in Andy's office? So she was like, okay, I can take you in there really quick, but we got to come out because I need the man handle this desk. I would have told Cheyenne, sit right over there and don't move. But whatever. So Cheyenne and the receptionist go into one of the offices. She was like, is this Andy's office? She was like, no, this is one of the partners' office. And Cheyenne takes it upon herself to sit in those folks' chair. Girl, whatever. So the lady was like, okay, come on, grabs her purse and say, okay, come on, let's go. So she looks around, she gets up, and she leaves. So as she's getting ready to leave the office, she bumps into Hayden. Courtney, why did you write this in? Well, Hayden finna be a whole personal problem. Why did we write this in? Okay? Anyway, she runs into Hayden, and he started to flirt with her like he have game. He have zero game. Okay? And so she curves him, which I was like, cool. So he was like, well, I'm going to give you my business card anyway. And I'm like, Hayden, why? I will say this. Shout out to Hayden, because he do look cute with his little, I don't like him like that, but what I'm saying is his new little hairstyle, it looks nice on him. Anyway, so Hayden goes into his office, and you can literally see Cheyenne standing towards the back. Zach comes out of Fatima's office and thanks the receptionist for allowing him to go in there to write her a note. So Cheyenne is watching Zach. She sees him. She got her eyes set on Zach. So she walked and kind of like bumps into him, and he grabs her so she wouldn't fall. And so Cheyenne, hold on, y'all. So Cheyenne introduces herself, and Zach was like, what's up? Well, how you doing? So she sniffs him and was like, ooh, what you have on? He said, I'm wearing Taken by Fatima. I was like, that was cute. That was cute. And he pushes her off. Not like a rough push, but just like, I need you to get back. Like, this is not what you want. I am not that. So he tells her, I have a woman. And front desk lady was like, yes, he does. Yes, he does. Okay. So he asks, how old are you? And she was like, I'm old enough. Y'all, Cheyenne is so childish. He was like, listen, ma'am, I'm trying to save your life. Okay. You don't even know what you're about to get into. You don't even know what's about to happen to you. But what you will know is I need you to back all the way back. Okay? Back up. So she was like, I don't see a ring on your finger. And so she's still flirting. And he tells her, I'm off limits. I'm good. She was like, well, you don't see nothing you like. So she did a little spin. And he was like, no. And in walks Andy and Fatima. And Cheyenne her hand is right on Zach's chest. And y'all know Fatima gave her that unaliving stare. Where she's talking to Zach, but she's looking directly at the person who she wants to get at. She's done it many a times. We've seen it. She just stares and she don't blink. Like, Fatima does not blink. I was like, girl, blink. She don't blink. And I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I love that part of Fatima. She didn't have to get riled up. She haven't been riled up in a while. Okay, and we like Fatima calm. Okay? So he tells Fatima, listen, it's not what you think. And the way she's staring Cheyenne down, and we get all the pleasantries out. Everybody know, everybody find out that's her sister, that's Andy's sister, and all of the things. So Fatima tells Andy, you better get her. So Andy is like, Cheyenne, you're dressed inappropriate for this office visit. What are you doing here? And I was like, Andy, pot, meat, kettle. How many times you had your out? A lot. How many times you've somehow broken the ruler, the ruler and the skirt rule? Your dress was way above your knee, ma'am. Your dresses, your skirts. Okay? So yeah. Fine. But I get what you gotta deal with. Cheyenne is a lot. So Cheyenne tells Andy, I was just job hunting. Andy was like, girl, in that outfit, what was you looking for a job? Hooters? Probably. Okay? Girl, she didn't say that, y'all. I'm just saying, like, you couldn't have been looking for a job here, but whatever. So Cheyenne is still flirting with zero awareness. Fatima goes into her bag. Andy and Zach was like, whoa. She was like, nah, I'm just pulling out a tissue. And Cheyenne asks Fatima, who are you? Like, it's so stupid. And so this scene was very long, okay? So we're just gonna go ahead and move it along, okay? Because this is when the episode comes back on, okay? So Zach tells Fatima, we finally get rid of Cheyenne and all of the things. So Zach tells Fatima he didn't get the bed, and she encourages him, like, you may not get this one, but something is gonna come along. So then we get the scene with Tony and Danny. Tony is still asking Danny, who is this guy? How did you meet him? How did he end up here in the house in the first place? And so I think for Danny, it feels a little intrusive, and it feels like he's poking now as somebody who's scorned. But he said, it's not like that. I'm just asking. I'm just trying to figure it out. But what are you going to do with that information, Tony? When you figure it out, then what? If she tell you all of this, then what? What can you do? All you can do is encourage her to go to the police, which she does not want to because he is the police. So anyway, she said, the guy must have just followed me home from the grocery store. So Danny apologizes again to Tony for cheating on him. I guess. Okay? He tells her not to apologize. I feel like Danny is apologizing because I don't even know. No, you know what? I don't know. I don't even know why this is written in, but fine. So Danny says she needs time to process and figure things out. Danny thinks that she could have been a bit more patient, but Tony thinks his gambling habits is what caused the wedge in the first place. He was like, if I would have had everything under control, I would have never took the money. She was like, you could have asked for the money and I would have given it to you. So Tony feels responsible, as you should. She said, she tells him it's not about him and it's not his fault. So over at the bank, okay? So India asks to see Maurice in her office. And he gives a little pushback. He was like, when I'm done with this, I'll come see you. I was like, ooh, Lord. This lady really don't like Maurice, and Maurice really don't like her. So Paige tells Maurice, India was looking for you earlier. He asked, well, what did you tell her? Paige said, I told her you took an extended lunch break because you had a headache. And so Maurice was like, I appreciate that. I appreciate you having my back. So then we get in the office with Maurice and India. Maurice asked, what is this about? And she said, given the friendship that you and Sabrina had, she asked, have you seen Sabrina? He says yes. And she was like, and he said, she's making progress. And the way India was saying it, it was like you already knew how Sabrina's state was. So he said, she tells Maurice, listen, given the friendship with you and Sabrina, the behavior that you've been displaying won't be tolerated here. So Maurice was like, well, what do you mean? She said the extended lunch breaks and the flippant customer service. He said extended lunch breaks and flippant customer service. I don't know what you're talking about. So it's clear that India does not like Maurice, of course, and she said, I'm going to need more from you, and the bank is going to need more from you. So Maurice was like, listen, I just think you're out for blood. And she was like, I'm going to type all of this up, everything that we discussed, and I'm going to need you to sign this verbal warning. I was like, wait a minute. Yeah, she was trying to get him on paper, but that's how it starts. They start with a conversation. Okay, don't think y'all can go do what y'all want on these people's job, because they're going to start with a conversation. As soon as you get a verbal warning, please know they're trying to tag you and they're trying to get their duckies in a row so you can get out the door, especially if you're not doing what you're supposed to do at your job. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway, so Fatima and Zach, they head to Fatima's office. Hayden walks up on them being an a-hole. Clearly, Hayden is scared. What I got out of this was Hayden is scared of Zach. And Zach wants to smash Fatima in Hayden's office. And I was like, this is what we're doing? This what we're doing? Okay, fine. So then we get back to Maurice, and there's another flashback. And this was another long flashback, okay? The flashback was his meeting with India when he found out about Sabrina's accident. The scene at the hospital, like everything is just running together for him. And I was like, Maurice finna go postal. Like, I don't know how this is going to go, but this isn't working for Maurice. Yeah. So anyway, Maurice called Dylan. He was like, listen, I can't do this. She about to make me lose my mind. And he tells Dylan, he was like, listen, I think I'm gonna do it. He was like, you're gonna do what we talked about last night. So I automatically assume Maurice finna quit. And he not just gonna quit, he gonna quit in a good stank fashion. So India comes to him with a verbal warning. She was like, here are the papers that I need you to sign. So he said, listen, he signed it. He said, I need you to read that signature carefully. He said, I freaking quit. Y'all can fill in the blanks. He was like, you guys are so insensitive as it relates to Sabrina. If it were you, if the situations were reversed, you wouldn't want the same treatment that you're doing with Sabrina. And also, if the situation was reversed, if it was you in the hospital, they will replace you with somebody else just as fast as you trying to replace Sabrina. And so he said, there is a special place in hell for you. Okay. And I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. There's a special place in hell for just like you. And you can go to hell. And I said, there you go, Maurice. And he said, I quit. He quit. So as he walks out, Paige said, don't let me hear in this bank, Maurice. She was like, help me. So in the next scene, Zach and Fatima, they broke Hayden's desk. Anyway, so back with Danny and Tony. Tony wants to process everything before they make a haste decision and decided they wanted to break up. He wants them to wait before they make a decision on their relationship. He said he's just realizing his wrong in his entirety. Danny asked for space, and she was like, listen, I just need a little space. You know, I need you to go home. I need to just kind of process. I need to think about it. Right now, I just need some time. So he was like, can I call you? She was like, yeah, because if I don't answer, I don't want you coming here knocking down my door. So Danny picks up the phone and calls somebody to stop by, which we know that that's going to be Cretia. Anyway, Andy gets a visitor from Dr. Reggie. Okay? I said we was going to call him Reg. Dr. Reggie V. And Dr. Reggie V came with some flowers. And I was like, oh, so it's cool for you to have flowers, huh, sis? But you know what, y'all? That was season 9. That was season 9. We're going to leave that in season 9. But it's cool for you to have flowers, huh? Mm-hmm. Clock that. Anyway, he stopped by to put a smile on Andy's face. And he asked if they can have dinner. So then Maurice, in the next scene, Maurice goes over to Pam. He tells Pam about him quitting. He was like, why the salon is 100% empty if we're open? So Pam was like, because we need to hire a stylist. I said, Pam don't need to work on no logistics. Okay, we're going to leave the logistics to Maurice. So anyway, he wants Pam to put out a flyer. And he needs the blueprints, and he needs to figure out what a nail bar gonna be. And Maurice is working his jelly. I feel like this is a better fit for Maurice because Maurice can be him at this salon. Anyway, y'all, my nose is itching. So Madison is back, and she's sitting in the Jamba Juice / Smoothie King, and Rich walks in with a somber look on his face because he just finished visiting Sabrina. And you know, she was like, oh, you look away. And they just have a small talk. It wasn't much. They had small talk. So then we pan back to the law office real quick. Hayden want to know what happened to his desk. We flash back to Angie and Dr. Reggie V, and he want to take Andy to eat. She said, you know, I feel like Andy just being coy at this point. He said he just want to be friends, and she agreed to go to dinner with him. So next week we'll see them at dinner. Anyway, meanwhile, Hayden gets a phone call, and before he gets the phone call, he's still trying to figure out who broke his desk, and he's trying to fix it. So then he gets a phone call, and it's Cheyenne, and I was like, why did we write that in? Why is this storyline important? Okay, we need to know. So she tells Hayden, you can take me out to dinner, of course. And he was like, well, what do I get in return? And she was like, you can get my presents. You can get my company, but you can't get my cookies. Okay? Hayden has LDE. Okay? And he does, according to Fatima. So, Hayden, don't nobody want you like that. Okay? You can't do nothing for nobody but yourself. Okay? And so he was like, well, I still didn't catch your name. So Cheyenne finally told him her name. And this is where the episode ended. And I was just like, Courtney, why? Where are we going with this? What are we doing? What are we doing with Hayden and Cheyenne? You're stressing me out. Okay, this is weird in episode 7 and I'm stressed out. I don't need to be stressed out. Okay, this, I don't know, this finna be a whole roller coaster ride. Anyway, y'all, this is the end of the episode. The next time y'all will see me is Friday night. I will give you Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Love After Lockup, and Bell Collective. It's gonna be a late night because Saturday I have a hair appointment. So yeah, I'm supposed to have a hair appointment Saturday. Anyway, y'all ain't need to know all of that. So yeah, this is what's happening. Next time you'll see me is Saturday. Honestly, y'all, I don't know where I can find the time, but I was thinking about doing the Carlos King interview with Mimi, and also kind of discussing the what was that? The Tyra Banks documentary, but I haven't had a chance to watch it, nor have I had a chance to watch the interview. So tomorrow, I don't know. I'm gonna see what's going on when I get home from work, and I'll put one of those on my to-do list. And maybe Sunday, I'll do one today, and maybe the other Sunday. I haven't thought about it just yet. But just check out my community wall, y'all. Anyway, sorry to be a little long-winded. This is your girl, Q. Reminding you to keep showing up. Stay true to yourself. And I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.